Hello, and a big welcome to all of you out there who are listening and watching to this podcast. Today we have Justin Dunn with us. Welcome to you. It's great to see you again.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Anne. Happy to be here.
Yeah, you have been here once before, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm excited to hear what you are going to talk about today.
Oh, good. Yeah, me too. I love talking about horses and people and how they help each other. Yeah, looking forward to it. Let's do it.
Maybe you should introduce yourself just to people who have not seen you before.
Okay. Well, my name is Justin Dunn. I own the American Mustang School in North Carolina here in the United States, and we specialize in wild Mustang horses and mental health and wellness. So, what we do is take people and coach them in horsemanship. So I consider myself a life coach. Uh, I used to call myself a horse trainer, but I really quickly realized horses train me. So I'm the student of the horse. And I share with other people what horses share with me, and then I merge them together so that they can experience themselves. And it's a really, really exciting life and happy to live it.
Yeah. Um, is it everybody or people must have some kind of horse background when they come to you?
No, that's the beautiful thing about it is they may have some horse experience, but it'll be in years past. They may have grown up with a grandparent that had horses or a friend that had horses. But most of the people that come here, it's not horse people per se. I do have clients that have had one horse for 20 years, so they don't have a variety of knowledge about horses. I've got clients that have had a handful of horses in their adult life, but were more yard ornaments, we'll call them. They weren't really connecting and going into what they would call, or I would call, horsemanship, is
Mhm.
more just exposure, kind of like a yard pet, so to speak. So, and answering that, it's probably a variety. I'll have some people that never even pet a horse. They're 35 years old, never even pet a horse. And then, it varies, so horse people, I kind of like not having those because I don't have to undo things to do what we do. So, yeah.
Yeah, many people have been through the old school like me. It's travel, it's a long way, and yeah, years ago you didn't talk with the horse, you talk to the horse, and there's a lot going on still all around the world. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And there's good in that. I try to see the good in every opportunity, and we need a network of people to come in and share their perceptions and share their perspective on things so that we can get a bigger picture. Some people were exposed to traditional training practices that were abusive and forced submission.
Mm.
And then they come out of that because they didn't resonate with it. So then they really attach to the willing compliance side. So, in contrast, traditional training practices of abuse, it can change from one degree to the new practices of willing compliance. And that's what we teach here at American Mustang School. So really looking forward to diving deep into what horsemanship actually should be based on the past and then the present and then how we want to see it into the future.
Yeah, and there is a lot of horsemanship as well. Um, it's there's different ways to go through it, and
Yeah.
yeah.
So if we think about horsemanship, that's horse human relationship. And anytime person wants to develop a relationship with anything, it's character development is what we're after. So when we bring in a wild Mustang horse, we've got to develop that horse's character. So whatever that horse thinks and does starts to become. He'll form habits and then create a character. Same thing with people. But a person has to be willing to change. See, horses are willing to change. They're adaptable. They will adapt to any human, thousands of humans. But a person has trouble adapting to 1,000 different horses. Over the years of my horsemanship journey, I've probably interacted with over 10,000 people and actually trained and helped or coached thousands. So it's an understanding that I have that character development is happening whether a person is conscious of it or not. They're doing things and they may not be totally aware of it. So horsemanship is essentially conscious awareness of oneself.
Mm-hmm.
So I created what I call the sacred art of horsemanship. And that's a set apart practice of self study with the horse as the accountability partner. So whatever I'm thinking and doing myself, I'm becoming. And whatever I'm presenting to the horse, he's mirroring back and feedback to me to help me be accountable for what it is I'm thinking and doing and becoming and forming habits in. And then what is my character? So playing with all the many horses that I've got to play with, I start to see a pattern form. I start to see a perception of myself and then perceptions of the horses about me. So, in other words, how do I perceive myself and how do the horses perceive me? And then how far apart is that in actuality? So, whenever we start to understand character development, we can look at the horse to define what our character is becoming. Is the horse calm, quiet, thinking, responding to questions quietly? Or is the horse erratic and chaotic and responding to questions chaotically without thinking? On a spectrum, a degree, calm and quiet, or chaotic and reactive, or somewhere in the middle. How do we create a character in a horse? Well, we have to think, we have to do, we have to become, we have to form habits, and then we'll create a character in ourselves, present that to the horse, observe their feedback, and be willing to make necessary changes to present again for the most desirable results. And in my opinion, the why to horsemanship is for character development in the human as well as the horse. Then we go into it in a mutual understanding that I'm not better than the horse is not better than me. We are equally needed to create this relationship together. So then the horse gets a voice and the horse gets empowered. And then the horse starts to raise its consciousness. So the conscious awareness is a benefit to the horse. Gets to feel feelings that he wouldn't have felt out there in the wild. Gets to think thoughts that he hadn't thought out there in the wild. So when we invite them into the human element, we can actually help them ascend in conscious awareness as well. So then it's a benefit. And then they'll draw to us because of benefit. See, a wild horse doesn't do anything unless it's a benefit. They learn the game of life very quick. When they were born in the wild, their mother told them, analyze things in life and death. It's that serious. Make decisions, think to sustain your life. Understand these laws of nature that exist. Law of energy conservation. Don't wear yourself out because if you have to run from danger, you'll be too tired. So, just as one example, law of cause and effect. You poke your nose on a cactus, it's not that's not going to be a good thing to do every day. So they start learning very quickly how to abide in the laws of nature, character development, think, do, become, form habits, create a character. And then within the wild horse herd, there's a hierarchy, we'll call it, but it's character development in each horse. So then they start to understand how to sustain collectively as one unit, the herd. So we take that horse that's been out there 3 years, 5 years, we bring them into the human element. I don't want to interrupt the character that they've developed. I want to enhance it. I want to create a relationship that doesn't get in the way or obstruct them, because then they will reveal things to me that I need, because I'm human and I have grown up in a society of the other humans that have disconnected from nature. And there's programming and conditioning and a lot of things that aren't relevant to long-term sustainability in life. And then developing conscious awareness, we get inhibited. So a horse helps us reconnect with ourselves, how we think, how we feel, what our attitude is on a daily basis, and then ultimately what our actions are to create the life that we want to live. And horses are guides. They stand there ready, willing, to give the information that we need to reconnect to nature. So it leads us into some really interesting things that are not in traditional training practices. If they are in there, they're not aware of them, and we could go into that. So
Yeah, I just sit here and wonder, um, if you are going to create yourself as a human being together with a horse, is it easier to get to know yourself through a Mustang than a domestic horse that have gone through all our things? What is your thought about that?
I would say it's person specific. So for me, yes. See, domestic horses have atrophied in some of the things that a wild horse is really sharp in. So the strongest law in nature is self-preservation, survival skill. Uh, Again, when the baby in the wild is born to its mother, the baby is explained, look, analyze everything, life and death. A domestic horse, its mother is just basically saying, all you got to worry about is the green bucket. So so there's a dynamic difference in those two horses as
Yes.
far as survival skills. They don't have to think so much to survive. So a lot of those survival skills have atrophied, which can be a benefit in a lot of areas. So that's where I'll refer to, it's person specific. You bring in a person that just want to interact with a horse. Domestic horses are perfect. They're just fine.
Yeah.
But you want to climb up into higher levels, get a depth and a width, go deeper and wider in horsemanship and experience through interaction. A wild horse is going to take that person that may have started with domestic and take them to new levels, new heights, new depths. So they're both just equally important. It's just a matter of what the individual person is trying to achieve or is aspiring to experience.
Yeah, we were talking a little before we are here in the podcast, and you were mentioning that uh, a lot of these Mustangs who are sold in USA will come back again because the people don't understand them, don't know how to handle them.
Yes. So the wild horses here in the United States roam on some grasslands. There's numbers that are coming out that the herds have grown too populated,
Yeah.
overpopulating the grasslands. So they pull them off and they put them in holding facilities, and then they do public adoptions to where people can come and adopt the horses out of the holding facilities to try to get those numbers down. But for example, the numbers are probably different than this today, but say there's 3,500 horses adopted out in a year, 1,500 of those horses come back. And it's due to not understanding true horsemanship. And that's where we refer to character development. See, a person that's only been playing with domestic horses, they've created a cookie cutter type training method, we'll call it. And we'll take 10 horses, and it works on 7 of the 10. Their training practices work on 7 of the 10 horses. Well, the other three, they get labeled untrainable, bad, crazy, whatever. Well, you bring in Mustangs into that. and then try that same training practices, those numbers are going to drop down into 2 out of 10,
Mhm.
because a Mustang will not sell out. They're not going to submit to force compliance. They're going to rebel naturally.
Mm.
They're definitely going to resent. So they start to create habits, and those habits solidify to where the horse is like, no, I do not agree with this. I'm not in harmony. This is not balanced. And see, people don't even know about energies, which we should talk about next to get a really big picture of what horsemanship truly is. It's energy exchange. So if we dive into energy exchange, like most people don't even know how much energy they possess and control and how much power they have in their energy. They'll give it away or they'll let it bleed off. I teach people, look, your energy is as important as your money. It should be guarded just like a budget. You're not just going to spend your energy on ridiculous things. You're not going to allow your energy to drain off unknowingly. It's that important. So it kind of can give a person an understanding. Like whenever we get with a horse, we're exchanging energies. Then we talk about specific energies. We got thought, mental energy, so mental thinking, tension. We got physical, moving and action. We got breathing, heart rate. All of these things tie in. So a thought, an emotion, that's going to take energy. If we have a thought motivating an emotion, takes energy. If we have an emotion motivating a thought, takes energy. Same thing in our horses. They have the four things that I have, which are thought, emotion, attitude, action. Attitude is a posture. See that horse in the background of you is posturing. He's curious. His ears are forward. He's looking. He's curious. That's a posture. He's not doing anything in action yet. So he has thoughts in his mind. He has emotion in his heart. He has attitude in his body, and he has action in his body. So that's two pathways of communication, inner and outer. Inner being thought and emotion, outer being attitude action. So if we understand those two pathways, those are energy exchange pathways. So if a horse is thinking calm and quiet, the person's probably thinking calm and quiet. If an emotion is enthusiastic, probably the same in the horse. So these energies exchange without a person even know. They're not seen. It's like invisible energy. It's like a tornado. A tornado's there, but until dust and debris gets in the tornado, you don't even know it's there. So that's the same thing with this energy. It's transferring back and forth, back and forth. And we call it a feedback loop. So whatever I'm thinking and feeling and my attitude, and my action, the horse is picking up on that, whether I'm aware of it or not. And that's what I teach my students, to develop an awareness. So we're doing what? Character development, energy exchange. And then we start to bring our conscious awareness up in ourselves and in our horses. So the most beautiful thing is this interactive system that I created to where I can control my energy. When I start to get off center, we'll call it, I can rebalance, self-regulate. So a horse does that naturally. If he starts to get off balance, he does understand law of energy conservation. He's not just going to wear himself out because he may have to run from danger. So they start to conserve their energy. They're not going to give it away. They're not going to burn it up unnecessarily, just like money, budget. Then they can start thinking and corresponding. So correspondence is like a second principle of the universe. And what that means is how things work together. If myself, the human, and the horse are in correspondence, working together, the energy is flowing between us smoothly and freely. The heart rate's stable, the breathing is stable, the muscles are relaxed. Then we can learn and grow together. The second that changes, it's maybe a restriction in the horse's mind of confusion. It's just confused. Well, we do what we call a stop exercise. A lot of people keep going, push them harder, make them run, make them do this. I went the other way. I said, well, what if we just stop? What if we just stop everything and we breathe? Take a deep breath. And then the horse does it. He takes a deep breath. And then his brain monitoring his body systems, his heart rate regulated down, self-regulated down to normal. His breathing wasn't short and shallow and restricted. It started breathing normal, muscles relaxed. And then we start again in what? Energy exchange. We start thinking together, moving together, breathing together. We synchronize up internally as well as externally. And then we're moving in harmony, which is an agreement, in the correspondence, which is how things work together. So if there's any resistance in that, the horses are going to notice it. They may not do anything, but they notice there's some resistance here. And then our job as a leader, as a co-creator, as a partner in the relationship is to take that away, take the resistance away, understand that it's there and it's needed, because if you didn't have resistance, you wouldn't have non-resistance. So they're both the same thing on a scale. You got resistance and then flow. Anywhere you want to be in there, you're going to be able to find it by understanding that it exists. And see, a lot of people are unconscious or unaware of the resistance,
Mhm.
and they start to create that over time. And the restrictions in the horse's mind could be resistance. It's confusion, doubt, uncertainty, anxiety, or depression. The horse can pick up emotional baggage because of the way that they're thinking and doing and becoming and the habits and then the character. So we'll see this in a lot of people and a lot of horses. And whenever they come together and develop this awareness, they can change character. It's a really simple process. It may take a little more time depending on the individual, but they always start to understand this and
Mhm.
start to attract to it. Because whatever a person thinks, does, becomes, form habits, creates character, the horse does too. And that's correspondence. So if it's of benefit to each one, it's only going to grow and develop into something more beautiful than the opposite. So yeah, that's real important for people to understand how much energy they really have and how much power they have in that energy. Just in simple thought, if I think I want my horse to do something and I stick with it, it becomes a reality. And then you have something to build on. And when I say that, if I think I want my horse to be relaxed, well, I'm going to continue to do things to get my horse relaxed. If I think I want my horse to move a hoof, I'm going to focus my attention on what I do want, not what I don't want. It's a really interesting concept of energy exchange. So I'd like to just point that out in this conversation. It all starts with understanding how much energy a person has and how much power they have in them. And then the horse too.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And as you said, I always tell my students that the horse know what mood you are in when you come to the stable. They know it before you show up. And
Well, let's
that's
ask how they know. So the second that I get with a horse, I understand this energy exchange. And it's like, okay, and some of my students will say, well, how do I know that the energy is exchanging? And it's like, okay, we have to go inward into ourself, not totally depend outward. Like the horse is there and I'm in a mood, but I have to go inward to try to figure out what mood that is. So I call it grooming for mindset. The level one in our classes, we have a brush in our hand and we're grooming the horse. But the purpose of that is obviously to groom the horse, but the real purpose is to go inward. What have I been thinking? What have I been feeling? What's my emotion? How has my last 12 hours been? Have I been in a hurry? Have I been lazy? I mean, it's an awareness. It's not a good or a bad value judgment. It's just going within and asking, how have I been thinking? How have I been feeling? How's my actions been? Have I been moving really fast or have I not been doing much? It's just an awareness. So that's a vibrational frequency. If we look at the third principle, vibration, everything is moving, everything is in motion, it's in vibration. So a horse can pick up on a resonance with the person. They understand breathing is a vibration. So if a person's sitting there breathing short and shallow breaths, and they've been doing that for the last 12 hours or the last 24 hours or the entire week, which most people do, they breathe short and shallow throughout the day. That is an energy that they can control. They can actually do a stop exercise in the middle of the day, throughout the day, and monitor their own breath. That is energy. So if they were to do and watch what horses do, horses take a breath and relax throughout the day. That is an energy we can control. You can control your breathing. So whenever we get with a horse and we want to start understanding vibrational frequency changes, we can do it in breathing. I can trigger a body response in myself by taking a deep breath and relaxation. So trigger a body response of relaxation through breath. Horses do it. When they do it, we should do it. So in other words, whenever you're playing with a horse and you notice they just take a big deep breath and they relax, that's a trigger for us to do it as well, because a lot of unseen energy exchanges are synchronizing up the heart, the lungs, the digestive system, the muscular system. All of those are communicating, especially when you get on their back. So it's an energy exchange that's unseen that a lot of people don't understand.
It also teach us to be in the now. We human beings, we often think in future or backwards, and the horses is in the now, and focusing on breath and what's happened right now is helping us to communicate.
Yes. So understanding the past, present, and future, and sliding between those in our horsemanship is actually very important.
Want to get back on the horse? Grab my free mini course. It's packed with simple tips to help you overcome anxiety and get back on your horse again. Click the link below to download.
So now I'll explain. So I created an interactive system, and it's where we go inward, present outward, observe feedback from the horse, then bring it back inward, make necessary changes, and send back out. I do this in a mechanical way of 5 questions. I'll ask a horse on the ground, series of 5 questions. We'll ask them to go backwards, go to the left in a circle, go to the right in a circle, maybe 2 or 3 circles either direction. We're observing the feedback from the horse. The fourth question would be to ask them to come forward to me. Fifth question, ground tie as a stop exercise and reset. Now, we're doing this in the moment, right here, right now, paying attention to the present. But that stop exercise gives us an opportunity for the past to be observed. So what just happened? What were the highlights? What were the lows? What were the changes we'd like to make in the future of these next 5 questions? So a stop exercise is very important. I learned this from the horses. They will do a stop exercise themselves. They recalibrate, they take a deep breath, they relax, they self-regulate all their body systems, their heart rate, their breathing, their muscles, their digestive. They lick and chew, release tension in the mouth, muscularly connected to the neck and the shoulders and the ribs. I mean, it's all one, the one horse, and their system is getting self-regulated. So that stop exercise is critical. It's a must. You have to do it in order to understand what it is and get ready to explain. The processes and procedures that just happened are catching up. They're being absorbed into the body of the horse and human, the interaction. You can look at the past and realize, oh, my timing was off, or I was in a hurry, or I wasn't assertive enough, or I did that premature, or I didn't do that. All of these things start to come if we observe them. We have to develop an awareness, conscious awareness to what has just happened. Now, time and memory factor in, because if you don't do this regularly, in time, you won't have a memory of what happened. So in other words, if you go through a whole training session and then you go and try to take notes in a book, you're going to forget a lot of things. So it has to happen in real time. It has to be observed as it's happening. So then in the next series of questions, you can change based on the past series of questions. So then you go again. So about 5 to 7 to 12 series of questions becomes what we call a mantra or a daily reset ritual. And it's something that once you think and do and become, and you form habits in it, you create a character of doing it. It starts to, I won't say speed up, but it doesn't take as much time to consciously develop it because it happens automatically. It'll even happen subconsciously without thinking. Your body will trigger a body response of relaxation in you without thinking, oh, I need to trigger a body response of relaxation in me. That's the point. The horses do that too. They will do things as we do things, and it's a subconscious, unseen energy exchange. So a horse feels your mood change. They will do something subtle or obvious to trigger you to relax. Say you're getting tense, your shoulders come up in height, short, shallow breathing, but the person's not consciously aware that's coming. The energy's changing, the vibrational frequency between the horse and human, something changed. The resonance is recognized in the horse. So they'll do something based on habits and character to trigger me to relax my shoulders, take a deep breath, relax. And then it's the feedback loop. It's energy exchanging between horse and human. So the horse just got a power that they didn't know they had because in the wild, they're just fine eating grass, pooping, procreating, playing with their horse friends, experiencing earth, water, fire, all of those things. But they come into the human element. Now they get to raise in a conscious awareness of energy exchange with a human. And that resonance, that vibrational frequency is recognized. So then they are empowered to have a voice. They're part of this relationship and creating character. So it's very important to them. It's very beneficial to them. Because if they see you start to change in mood and they have the power of their energy to present something to you to relax you, then they just got a voice and they just got some power and they just realized, wow, this is beneficial. Because if a human's not aware and a horse can bring in awareness, that's that energy exchange. That's the benefit for the horse. That's the horse getting a voice. And then when they realize that, it goes beyond what this podcast could even let a person understand. They can get a sense of this, but they'll never understand it until they go and experience the true essence of it. And that's horsemanship. That's the piece that I want people to know exists. And traditional training practices have missed it. When the second they start going into forced compliance, the resistance is too strong. The horse cannot reveal what I just explained. The energies won't exchange correctly. The correspondence, how things work together, it's too resistant. It won't work.
Mm, yeah, what a great way to explain it. Because, yeah, I often said it's so hard to explain feelings and how you should feel, how you should act with your horse and all that. But yeah, this was fantastic.
Yeah. And see, horses are guides. They'll guide us into this. I'm a facilitator, I'm a coach, life coach, and I'll put a person with one of my horses. I have 8 horses here at the school, but it doesn't even have to be my horses. We're actually working on a really cool project in the Virgin Islands, June 10th, 11th, and 12th, where I and whoever joins the clinic will fly out to the Virgin Islands and I will introduce them to horses we've never met. We'll create an interactive system for desirable results. But the beautiful piece of that is we create an interactive system for predictable results in the character development through energy exchange. so that a person can experience this in its truest, purest essence. Because it's a horse that doesn't necessarily understand because they've never experienced it.
No.
They've never gone through the energy exchange process correctly. They've never gone through a daily reset ritual. They've never gone through what I've created here at the school and proven year after year after year with hundreds, almost thousands of people, to where we can showcase in real time, like basically get on an airplane from wherever the person's from, meet me out in the Virgin Islands. We're going to ride horses we've never met into the mountains, into the beach, into the ocean, and swim. Swim with these horses. So you're immersing yourself into nature where the horse is. They're in nature. We are nature, but our societies have taught us that we're separate. Not I mean, it was intentional, but it's inadvertently. It's like a person's born into a system. They're programmed and conditioned to that system subconsciously. And after that person realizes, wow, I'm missing something. That missing is what you will find when you go inward and start to develop your character, start thinking and doing, and then form these habits to become a character. And most people don't even know they have the energy to do that. If they're sad, they have the energy to be happy, because sad and happy are the same energies. They're just different degree. It's like hot and cold. They're the same thing, just different degree. You got hot, you got cold. Where does hot and cold end and begin? So it's the same thing, different classes. A mood in a person's different class than the temperature of a person. You know, they could be cold or they could be hot. They could be happy, they could be sad. Two different classes. But those energies are the same, just different degrees. See, horses understand that. And they can help a person that's sad or depressed become happy and not depressed. But a person has to go inward, present outward, observe feedback from the horse, make necessary changes, present again, to get into a feedback loop where transmutation of energy can happen. So a person gets triggered emotionally on something and they're subconsciously doing it. They're not even aware of why. This is how they go find out. They exchange energy with a horse and understand emotion and thought are energies, and that we have the power to change those in the snap of a finger. If I don't like something I see in my horse, I can focus on what I do like. So it transmutes that energy. So as an example, like we go and we meet a new horse and we start asking them questions and it's not going smooth. I can stop exercise, take a breath, relax, go again, and then watch that energy transmute from sticky, not flowing, frustration maybe, to smooth flowing, non-restricted. And then it's a evidence of like, oh, I can actually go inward, make necessary changes in what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, what my attitude is, what my actions are, and then get into this feedback loop with a horse that we've never met before and watch it in real time happen, to where then you can synchronize breathing, moving, thinking, action, get on their back, ride. It's a beautiful experience. It's one that I don't even know how many people will ever get to experience it. You know, out of the billions of people on this planet and out of the number of horses that are available, it's probably fraction of a percent of people that will get to experience what you and I are talking about right now. That's why I created this 3-day clinic in the US Virgin Islands, is so a person can have an opportunity to go experience this. They can actually live it. They'll never ever get to pure consciousness unless they go experience it. They can get a sense of it, just in a conversation or reading a book or watching a show. But until they go experience it, they'll never understand it. And then that's where the true essence is, through experience. That's where reality lives, is in experience. You even said it, in the moment, in the present. That's reality. And horsemanship, that is a gateway into reality, because a person can go inward and identify what it is they need the most to sustain life, the most beneficial way. And horses are ready, willing, and available to give that over. And that's where they get to serve. Every living creature on the planet wants to serve in some capacity. You know, the mineral wants to serve the carrot wants to serve the rabbit, you know, and it goes on and on. So it's like, and all that's energy exchange, you know, because it doesn't go away. You know, a rabbit eats a carrot, that energy is exchanged. It just changed form. So we get back to a person's mood, happy, sad, both energies. They're just changing form. You know, a person that is calm and quiet and comfortable, or not. Same thing, just different degrees. So in our horses, it's the same thing. A horse that's flighty and erratic and chaotic, we can transmute that energy into calm, quiet, relaxed, confident through an interactive system of presenting, observing, making necessary changes, and doing it again. And then understanding these principles, these laws of nature. See, nature has all of this in it, and it's hiding it from us for fun. What's the why? It's the
Yeah,
joy to
why?
go into nature, the joy to go into nature and find it.
Mm.
So think if you were the creator of something and you hid little pieces of information for yourself to go find. It would be fun. Be like, oh, I can't wait to go explore this with my horse to see what we find. That's the joy. That's creating happiness, because you get to go inward and you get to say, yes, I want to change. I want to become better. And I want to present my best self to my horse and observe feedback, and then continue to get the feedback that's desirable. So it benefits both horse and human. I coach people. So the five main areas of our life are really, really important, and we focus on that. So we look at health, that'd be the number one. And we look at wealth, number two. And yes, it can be financial, but I like to really focus on energy. So because those two are real easy to link up together and easy to understand. So we're spending energy, or we're investing energy. We're spending money, we're investing money. Two different things. We're attracting money, we're attracting energy. We're repelling money, we're repelling energy. You know, all of these things coincide. So the first one, health. Second one, wealth. Third one, happiness. How do we create happiness? Well, whatever we do, we find joy in it. Any opportunity that we come again, any situation, if we're looking for the good in it, that's what we'll find. So it's thinking in association. It's like if a situation arises and it triggers me emotionally to not like it, but that trigger is important because it's an emotionally motivated thought that I can choose. Do I want to look at this opportunity or this situation as bad or good? If I'm looking for the good in every situation with my horse, I'm starting to create a habit to do it away from my horse. So then my life will change, because the things that I looked at before that triggered me emotionally, I might think, oh, this is no good. But if I override that energy and transmute it into go, well, let me find the good in it, I'll probably will find good in it. And then I have the ability to control my energy, where before I may have let that trigger me emotionally and then I got all upset and then it just unraveled into chaos. But if I'm the controller of my energy and I'm looking for joy in everything that I do, I will probably find it, because nature has it hidden there for me to do it.
Lost confidence in the saddle? I can help. My Get Back on the Horse program is designed to help you overcome fear and enjoy riding again. Let's get you back in the saddle with confidence. Click the link in description
So then
to
we go
join.
into the fourth main area of our life, which is relationship. So when we understand the first three, health, wealth, happiness, relationships are going to be real easy to form because no one wants to be with someone who's unhealthy, sick, broke. They don't want that, and poor. It's like they're going to be in a mindset of complaint and a mindset of an energy that is not conducive to creating a relationship. So think of it of our horses. If I go out there and I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, my energy, and I'm happy because I find joy in everything we do, I can create a relationship with any horse anywhere in the world. I can fly to the Virgin Islands and I can present myself to the horse and then observe their feedback and make necessary changes and find the good in every interaction. And then that interactive system becomes very, very important with the horse, but away from the horse. So character development, life enrichment, long-term sustainability. And then we go to the fifth one, which is spirituality. I think it's very important people understand the unseen as well as the seen, the material and the spiritual. They both coincide. They're both energies. They both interact. So whenever we're with our horses and we've maxed out the five senses, seeing, that's through frequency. Hearing, that's a frequency. Vibrational frequency exchanges. When we get to a point where those are maxed out and we don't understand what to do next, and we go inward and then we tap into spirituality, the answers will come. They're there. They're stored somewhere. We'll call it consciousness. And we raise our conscious awareness. We raise our conscious awareness of ourselves. We raise the conscious awareness of our horses. And then we ascend into another consciousness, another level of understanding, we'll say. That's where those answers are hidden. That's where they are. But we would never attain or acquire them until we align with the nature, the universe. And then that spirituality is a really cool piece because that's where those answers are hidden. And they're unique to the person and the horse. They're not just out there for anybody to have. The alignments in the horse and the person are how those are accessed. And we could go really deep on spirituality, but those are the five main areas: health, wealth, happiness, relationships, spirituality.
Wow. So you believe that it's only horse and human who can get to this. You don't think you can do it with a dog, or?
Yes, you can do it with the dog. You can do it with any animal, I believe.
Yeah.
I just happen to be really correspond well with horses, how things work together. And that's horses for me. And that's how I help other people that have an interest in horses, that resonate on some level with horses, vibrate at a frequency that correspondence with horses is where it's most beneficial, most efficient. I see people do it with dogs. Yeah. Um, I've seen people do it with dolphins and whales,
Mhm.
in that regard.
Mhm.
I just personally acquired this knowledge through horsemanship, horse-human relationship,
Mhm.
and it coincides with everything I believe in the stars and the earth and the moon and the sun and the air and the temperature and the water and all of the things that the universe possesses. The principles of the universe. And I could share that too. I really study hermetic principles now. And the first one is the all is mind, the universe is mental. And what that means is what we think about, we bring about. So if I think I want a calm, quiet relationship with my horse, I'll bring that about because the all is mind, the universe is mental. The second one, correspondence, how things work together. As above, so below. As within, so without. So if I'm sitting on the back of my horse, as above, so below. If I am a character, then I can realistically expect my horse to be of character. As above, so below. As within, so without. If I am thinking calm, quiet thoughts, then I should be presenting that, then my horse should be receiving that and doing the same thing. And then it's a feedback loop. Everything, the energy corresponds. So the same energy that's moving the star or the planets and the sun and the moon is the same energy that's in the cellular form of my body. It's the same energy, different degree, as above, so below. If I'm thinking, that's an energy, as within, so without. So if I'm thinking and doing, if I'm thinking calm, quiet, my actions are calm, quiet, that's as within, so without. Then they go into the third one, vibration. Everything is moving in vibration. That's what our horses are picking up on. Vibrational frequency changes. If I pick up a lead rope and I wiggle that lead rope, that is a vibrational frequency transmitting down the lead rope to the horse. If I do it fast, they saw the vibrational frequency change. If I do it slow, they saw and felt it change. It's if I do it fast and slow, same thing, different degrees. Different horses are going to require different degrees of that energy transfer. Some are very sensitive, some are not. See, the class of horse is the same, but not all horses are the same. Some are hot, some are cold, we'll call it, warm blood.
Mm.
They are high energy, low energy by nature. So how we correspond with them is important. So if we're paying attention to our energy and what we're presenting to the horse on that scale, we can find where they are most beneficial, most efficient, most effective at communicating in this relationship. And we go into polarity, and I just kind of explained that. We got one polarity to the other. We got a very responsive horse and a not responsive horse. Well, we've got to control our energies and present to them to observe their feedback, to get it dialed in to where this very sensitive horse and not very sensitive horse can come to center. We're doing different things with each horse, but we're getting the same results. We were willing to change for the horse because through vibrational frequency exchange, energy exchange, we could see and feel through a resonance exactly what they're seeing and feeling through a resonance. And then back all the way back to the first part of our conversation, how do I perceive myself? How does the horse perceive me? So this very sensitive horse may perceive me as aggressive, too fast.
Mm.
And then I go, oh, thank you for that feedback. Let me dial this down and present again and get the desirable results through the interactive system. Well, the lazy horse, we'll call our non-sensitive horse, doesn't do anything. So I've got to bring my energy up to get the same results. So on a scale of 1 to 10, the sensitive horse needs like a 1 or 2. The non-sensitive horse needs like a 3 or 4 to get the same results. But I was willing to change what I can and control what I can, which is me, my energy, my presentation, and then be willing to change for the individual horse. That's why I, Justin, observing myself, can change in real time. And then 10 out of 10 horses, it's efficient, effective, and 100% works, 100% true, because the horses understand what you're doing and they follow you because it's a benefit to them. They don't follow me because I'm rich or I've got status. They don't care about that. They only care about how much we care. And the only way to show them is to abide in the laws of nature that they abide in and communicate with them in that realm. So then we go into the next principle, which is cause and effect. So they understand that cause and effect. And see, people, they don't understand cause and effect real well because sometimes cause years and years and years for the effect. So they don't get to see it. But in horsemanship, it's where we can really understand what time actually is. I can create a cause and then see an instant effect. And then I can do another cause, instant effect, and then the effect creates a cause, and then and it goes on and on and on. So you can start to see, wow, I am the cause of this effect. And then I can start controlling energies to create the effects I want in the cause that I give. So then the horses start to understand that you know what cause and effect is because they know. That's why they abide in those laws and principles to sustain life a long, long time. And see, a domestic horse may have atrophied in some of those things. A wild horse has not. He understands cause and effect very clearly. So if some cause creates an effect in that horse's body to change, heart rate come up, breathing short and shallow, muscles restrict, that horse is dialed into the cause that's creating that effect. So then they'll say, I got to get away from this. I got to go self-regulate. You're the cause of this effect in my body. I can't do this. It won't sustain life a long time. So there's this understanding now, how much energy do I have and how much do I control? And then that horse will pick up on whether you're in control of your energies or not. And then it starts to really get deep and wide. And then we go into an energy of the feminine and masculine. So it's called principle of gender. Everybody possesses those two energies. A man possesses masculine and feminine energy. A woman does too. A horse, yes. When those energies are off, the horse will recognize it. Masculine could be logic. It could be outward, present, do. Feminine would be inward, receive, intuition, creativity, imagination, those things. So when my personal energies were off, I would be resorting to forced compliance. Let's get this done. Let's do this. Move those feet. But when I learned stop exercise, balance those energies, I'd get creative. I would use the intuitive side of the energy, and then it would flow. The harmony would get quicker. The agreement would become quicker because horses balance those masculine, feminine energies within themselves. They self-regulate those all the time. Sometimes you'll see a horse be masculine. Sometimes you'll see the same horse be feminine in energy, and not to be confused by sex, but the energy, the creative, the logic. It's intuitive, the logic. Some of the herd leaders, they'll put themselves in a vulnerable position to better the herd. So, like a raging river, the herd leader may not even be the herd leader, but the one that the herd follows is the one that put themselves in a vulnerable position to like go into the roaring river to get to the other side for the best grass. So the herd sees that, like, wow, you were willing to put yourself in a vulnerable position for us to follow you so that we could get the good grass. Then he kind of just earned the right to be the leader, or she. But they balance those masculine, feminine energies. I got to do this. I'm going to go through this river. Maybe that's a masculine. But the intuitive part was like, I know it'll be okay. I will do this. Otherwise, we're not going to get to eat. We've got to do something. So those energies were balanced in that particular horse. So the other horses recognized that through resonance, vibrational energy exchange, and followed them. They didn't drag them across the river. They followed them. And humans, they just don't understand exactly what that process entails. But it's that law of nature, principle of nature, and all of those aligned perfectly for that to happen. And then the resonance was recognized, and then the energies created what a person actually saw, but created the actual event. It happens like that in our horsemanship. That's why I created a daily reset ritual. It's a mantra, something we can do for ourselves, for our horses, with ourselves, with our horses. And we move and breathe together. And then there's this thing that we do called being. And that's where we drop all thoughts, all perceptions in order to enjoy the reality. And you said it earlier, Anne, you said, come into the moment. And that's what that is. That stop exercise, when I get with a horse and we just stop everything, whether I'm on their back or I'm on the ground, I create this mantra or this reset ritual where we stop, we breathe together, we relax together, we think together, but no thought or perception comes in. And then you can actually experience reality. And most people will never get it in this life. They'll get it. They'll get glimpses of it, but they won't get the ability to take it and do it anytime they want. That's why I created the interactive system with horses so that people that have never played with horses can come in and get it. And again, that's why I created this Tropical Island Adventure Clinic in the U.S. Virgin Islands, June 10th, 11th, and 12th. So a person can fly in and immerse in this for 3 days. And I'll show everything we just talked about in 3 days' time. You want to go?
Yeah. I would, yeah, if I could. It sounds amazing, really.
It is.
Yeah.
It's so fun. Life is worth living when you can understand how to control what we can control, and that's our energies, ourselves. And you hear it thrown around a lot of self-help books. And I've read a few, here and there. And since I wrote my book, I've read other books, and it's just you get a sense of it, but you'll never get the understanding until you immerse in the experience. And I think that's what nature hides. It's like, yeah, you've got to get out there and do it. You got to get out there and experience it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the beautiful part of it. It's not just freely given just by reading a book or listening to a podcast. And that's fair. It's like, yeah, let's go experience this and truly understand, get the true essence, and then tap into pure consciousness.
Hi, if you love horses and want to learn more about riding, training, and building a deeper bond, join my monthly membership. You'll get expert advice, live workshops, and a supportive community of horse lovers. Click the link in description to join. Yeah, it's a great way. Yeah, I just think that uh, people are too busy today to see it and to want to get it inside. You talk about uh, people, yeah, I'm going out in the nature and I smell the flowers and then I get my energy back. That is a great thing to do. And that is just a small part of it. So as you said, go out and get it and find it somehow. We are here to
Yeah.
learn.
Yeah, because just doing that, a person will be subjected to the laws and the principles of the universe that exist, whether they know that or not. It's called forest bathing. You go into the forest and immerse yourself into the trees and the breeze blowing on your face and the sunlight on your back or on your face. It's experiencing nature, and you start to discover what is hidden and the alignments, breathing and moving in nature. That's the experiential learning process of self mastery because people don't, they're too distracted, and distractions are draining their energy. That's what the purpose of self mastery is to guard your energy like you would guard your money. That's why people are broke. That's why they're sick. That's why they're depressed, unhappy. They don't know how to connect in their mind and their body and their spirit to create the character that they want to be and live the life they want to live under their terms. See, the distractions that are out there, they're there for good reason. They come to earth to learn contrast. So
Mhm.
if a person is investing too much time watching TV, it can drain their energy.
Mhm.
If they're doing too much video games, drain their energy. It's just a matter of guarding our energies, self-mastery. What do we want to invest our energy and our time into to realize the results? See, the cause and effect are real important because a lot of people don't see the effect coming. They'll do something like buy the video game system, day one, play it for 15 minutes. Okay, that's a cause, there's an effect. But then 6 years later, they're playing 13 hours a day and they don't know how they got there
No.
because they didn't do what we do in horsemanship, was this daily reset ritual, renew the mind, go inward. What have I been thinking? What have I been feeling? What have I been doing? And just make an assessment. People don't. They're not consciously aware daily that they need to do that. Horses allow us to they're accountability partners. They almost command that we do that. And anybody that's played with horses can get a sense of this just by listening to this podcast. Like, yeah, I actually do have to concentrate more. I do have to focus more. I do understand that my mind will drift and the horses bring me back. So they're accountability partners that I think are the most amazing ones, because you can't get it through a motorcycle riding event, bicycle. You can't get it through flying an airplane. There's glimpses and pieces and all those things are there, but those aren't living, breathing, energy exchanging entities, sentient beings. They're not the same. So whenever a person wants to really go within and understand themselves, the horses are living, breathing beings to help be the most efficient, effective way of understanding that. So when a person's disconnected, we'll call it, through programming and conditioning of society, giving their energy to something that's not even relevant to sustain their life, horses will help course correct. And then a person can realize, oh, I only need to focus on what's relevant. And then my energy won't be drained at the end of the day when I come home and I'm just exhausted and I don't feel like doing anything. No, you guard your energy to where irrelevant things will not matter. Politics.
Mm.
I know so many people that politics are draining their energy to the
Football.
point where, yeah, to the point where it's just ruining their day.
Mm.
And then they'll do it again the next day, and then the next day. And then it's like, well, where's your energy going? And they don't even realize it. They're subconsciously doing that. They created a habit through thinking and doing, becoming, forming a habit, created a character subconsciously, because the cause and effect were too far apart. They started it down this pathway and then it just gained momentum and they weren't even in control of it. But see, the flip side of that is we can say, wait, I want to think about what I'm doing. I want to do what I want to do to become what I want to become and form habits in what I want to form habits in to create the character I want to be. Horses are standing there like, yeah, I'll help you do that. I'll show you how to do that. And look at the accessibility of horses for people in the world. I know the numbers in America. And we have 330 million people. We only have 6 million horses. So the accessibility is not very good. They're very high. So in order for a person to even access this, got to have people like you, got to have people like me that have horses and are willing to share them so that the people can experience this, get an understanding, get the true essence. But this society is not geared, it's geared to take people away from their self, their self-control, their self-mastery, their understanding of self. I mean, we can read all ancient texts, spiritual texts, read the Bible. It says, know thyself. Well, what does that mean? So a lot of people don't even know what that means. They just like, know thyself. I know myself, but they perceive themselves as something totally different than the world perceives them. And then it's like, well, how do I change my perception? If they're even asking that question. Well, we present ourselves to the horse. How does the horse perceive me? And then based on feedback and through this interactive system, we can start to realize, oh, the perception of myself was way off. I'm actually erratic and chaotic in a lot of things. And now I can change, transmute energy, and I can be calm and quiet in a lot of things. I can actually process thoughts. I can put them into actions that are going to be of benefit for myself and the horse. I can get into a practice and create a character to where I can do it away from the horse so that I can see a politic something about politics, and it won't trigger my emotion to cause my thoughts, something I don't want. Now, maybe it does trigger my emotion, but then I have the awareness to go, well, I'm not going to let this drain my energy.
Mm.
I'm going to focus on what's relevant, and I'm not going to focus on what's irrelevant because I'm guarding my energy for my wealth. So see how it all interplays, as above, so below, as within, so without. Once we understand these principles and we put them into practice, see, that's the thing. People can understand this to a degree. They can get a sense of it, I should say, but they won't really understand it until they put it into practice. It has to be experienced. A person has to literally say, I want to think this, I want to feel this, I want to do this, I want to form a habit in this, and I want to create a character. And then they got to do it again, and then do it again. And it's not all done in one day. I mean, I take wild horses and I don't create a character in them day one. It's a concept, and then the next day, another concept, then the next day. What's what? What did he retain? What did I got to get better at presenting? What did I retain? What do I got to get better at understanding? The only way to do it is through experience. So what we think about, we bring about. And it's just that simple, but
Yeah,
complex.
yeah, but yeah, it's it's simple but difficult. It's the same that the people, yeah, I want to lose weight. Yeah, I want to be more healthy. I want to, and the brain is going on. We want, we want, we want, but how do I start and all this? And
Yeah.
they start coming to you, I think.
Or listening to a podcast is
Yeah.
a start. Listening to a podcast, listening to a conversation between two people that understand horses,
Mm,
and then understand that it starts in thought. The cause is a thought. So the cause, thought, the effect, action. Cause, effect, thought, action. And then observe feedback, make necessary changes, change the thought, change the action, and then play with it. See, play. A lot of people say, I'm going to go work my horse. Words are powerful. That's why there's spelling. We spell words. And then you think about spelling or casting spells. If I want to work my horse, I've already put my thought and my being into work mode. And we've associated thinking and association things. We've associated work with what programming and conditioning our society has taught us work is. So if I say I'm going to go work my horse, well, we already set a stage for our subconscious to think, okay, this is work.
mm,
But if I say, I want to go play with my horse, the same effect and the opposite. So work, play. And it is a balance. They're
mm,
the same thing, different degree. So if I say, I want to go play with my horse, I'm going to think more like a child. I'm going to go think more less pressure. I'm going to go think more, let's see how it unfolds because we're playing together like children would do.
mm.
They play. What does a child do? They play uninterrupted, no restriction, no restraint. They think it, they do it. They want to jump in a mud puddle. They don't even have any reservations. They go do it, jump in the mud puddle. We condition ourselves to go, well, I don't want to go jump in the mud puddle because it'll get me wet. Then I'll have to wash my clothes. We've just stringed this whole thread of thought down to where we don't even go jump in the mud puddle. But we
Exactly.
miss some of the most beautiful things about jumping in a mud puddle.
Mm,
It's freeing, it's freedom, it's experiencing, it's joy. It's what nature is hiding for us to go find.
mm,
Now, I'm not telling everybody go jump in a mud puddle, but it's used in an example. If you think in terms of playing with your horse, you'll be more open to
mm,
do and try things through creativity, through that feminine energy, through intuition. It's called an open mindset rather than a fixed mindset. Those are the same thing, just one degree to the other. Fixed mindset, open mindset, and all degrees in there. And it's like, well, let's play with it. Let's try to have an open mindset here. And then maybe you'll go to a fixed mindset, but then you get to develop an awareness. It's like, oh, I'm in a fixed mindset on this. I can't because XYZ. It's like, well, let's change that. How can I? And then you open to the possibilities. And then your horse sees this and feels this, and then things happen. You know, people will talk themselves out of things because they don't understand their energies. Their energies are powerful. So if a person says, what if this happens? And it may be a negative. We'll call it negative. What if this happens? Well, the same thought should pop right back in. Well, what if it doesn't?
Mm.
You transmute the what if he runs away with me? Well, what if he don't? It's play. It's open. It's present, observe. It's slow down. It's speed up. It's be willing to change. If a person's going too fast too soon and they start to feel some restriction, stop exercise, take a deep breath, relax, slow down, go again. If a person's going too slow, it's not working, horse is confused, it's not happening, stop exercise, take a deep breath, relax, analyze why it just happened that way in the past, just the brief past, make necessary changes, present again, speed up. There's nothing wrong with change. See, people are resistant to change by nature because of society and programming. So if we understand that by nature, we can change. It's just that simple. But it's got to be practiced. And that's what true horsemanship, in my opinion, switched from or atrophied from or got on a different course because forced compliance, willing compliance, they're the same thing, different degree. You know, I can force a horse to do something, have many times, but over the long-term cause and effect of doing that, the horse will start resenting me. There'll be some resistance come in. You know, and different horses are different, so some tolerate more than others. But if we don't have a deep or wide understanding of that, we'll never grow into self-mastery to where we can come into a relationship with any horse and create the most desirable, predictable results we want in character. So that's what true horsemanship is to me. It's where 10 out of 10 horses will succeed. It's where 10 out of 10 people, 10 out of 10 horses will thrive in harmony, agreement, and have a balanced relationship of understanding depth of each other and only grow and only become the character that they strive to be. It's a beautiful thing. You know, horses in the wild coming into the human element. Somebody asked me one time, what's the reward for them? Well, let's think about it based on this conversation that we just had. They get to ascend in a conscious awareness that they wouldn't have otherwise. Why wouldn't we want that for them? But on the same scale, they could ascend consciously in a positive or ascend consciously in a negative. And it's a character. So if a person labels a horse bad, untrainable, worthless, that's what they created. The horse isn't that. The person created that character in that horse. Or persons. Maybe they were passed to a bunch of different people.
Mm.
And it's not fair. So
No.
if a person understands what we just talked about, and that's how the course can correct back to true unity, true horsemanship, true nature of relationship. And that's what I want. I want people to understand this, live it, have the experience, go into the true essence of it. So thankful to be able to share it with
Yeah, fantastic. And with these words, I think we have to stop this conversation, unfortunately, because I'm sure we could go on for 4 hours more. But it was so nice to have you here, and I will put your links and yeah, so people can find you, and maybe they want to go and swim with the horse, so they can get in touch with you.
you. Thank
So
you. Yes.
thank you so much for being here today. It has been a pleasure and so nice to know that we are on the same page always.
Yes.
So have a nice day and future, and I hope you will have a fantastic travel.
Thank you, Anne. I really appreciate that.
And thanks to all of you out there who have been listening and watching this. And don't forget to subscribe because it helps me to get out more there in the world and find people like Justin. Thank you so much. Bye bye.